What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. We are here today on October 26th here, about 11 a.m. Had to let the game digest a bit. But yeah, what a fucking game yesterday was. Now, I had said it, no one, I guess it's kind of a toss up and if people really believe it or not, but I had said this was going to be a World Series game that we weren't going to want to. The whole World Series is going to be. I mean, this set the fucking tone. This was game one. We still got at least three more of these. And this is game one. So this set the fucking tone for the rest of the series all the way through. Set the tone. I mean, this is going to be nuts. But today, I was in shock yesterday after watching the game, obviously, as most Yankee fans were. Quite a few questionable decisions that we're going to discuss today coming from the managerial side, aka Aaron Boone. Some things that I just can't wrap my head around. Some key moments. I'm going to go inning by inning. Obviously, it was pretty dead for the first five, at least. Pitchers duel through, and we'll kind of break into what happened, what went wrong, what went right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, and we'll kind of hit on some pieces as we go through. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's see. So the first inning, obviously, nothing happens. I think Soto walked. Judge, of course, strikes out swinging, which we're going to be talking about Aaron Judge. It's pretty much inevitable to talk about him at this point. Giancarlo gets on. Let's see. So they're scoreless through four. Then the Dodgers put one on. I think it was in the fifth. Let's see, in the fifth, yeah. So Muncy struck out. Hernandez checks right. Hernandez tripled. And Enrique Hernandez, and kind of thinking about it, like he's been hot. Kike Hernandez has been hot. He's just been kind of one of those guys where he's kind of got the momentum on his side right now. Dude he can be in big. He can come up big in situations, or he can be like kind of like non-relevant. It's kind of weird. But he came in yesterday, triple. I forgot about that. To Juan Soto off the wall, he pieced it, and then Will Smith sack fly, brought him in. Then Gavin Lux flied out. That was in the fifth. In the sixth, the Yankees come back. Soto singles. Judge again strikes out. And then Stanton with his 2-run homer. There's something about Giancarlo fucking Stanton. He is built all the way. He's built different, that guy. That guy is built so much different. It's not even, I mean, the thing is that Flaherty had him. I think Flaherty had got him the other times throughout the lineup. Let's see. Stanton, where's Stanton? Is this all just scoring? This is all. Yeah, so Stanton reached on a fielder's choice the first time. Yeah, and then I guess that was this is the second at bat. Bomb. And it was a golf swing. It was everything. Giancarlo Stanton is just built different. He is, I mean, obviously the ALCS MVP, multiple home runs in that series against the Guardians, big home runs against the Guardians. Like, I can't say enough good things about Giancarlo Stanton, which I do want to kind of talk about the lineup and what I think should happen, given some other struggles. But again, we're going to get there kind of going through it. So 2-1 at this point in the sixth. Giancarlo comes in clutch. It's 2-1. Everyone's pumped. It stays that way through the seventh. Then we go to the eighth. And again, we're going to have to talk about this situation. So we're in the sixth here. Let's get to the eighth. All right. So, and in between there, Cole pitches into the seventh, doesn't make it out of the seventh. Right? Yeah. So Teoscar Hernandez hit a single off of Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole been lights out to this point. And here's the first kind of blunder that I had with Aaron Boone. Garrett Cole had been nails. I mean, if not nails, damn near close. 1 run on 1 hit, really, and then a sac fly. I mean, it's like, come on. He was pitching a hell of a game. Hard to argue that Garrett Cole was on his shit last night. And then Aaron Boone decides to pull him at only 88 pitches. Now, me personally, and then again, he puts in Clay Holmes. Now, if I'm in that managerial standpoint, at this point, the bullpen, this is game one. of the World Series. You don't want to show them too much. And if you show them a lot of your bullpen, you better come out with a win because you don't want to show them everything in your toolbox, everything in your arsenal, which I think was kind of the start to the downhill of this game for the Yankees. And I say that because Garrett Cole was only at 88 pitches. Granted, he's coming off an injury. Granted, we may be trying to, cater to him just a little bit because, obviously he's coming around the lineup again. He's facing the Teoscar Hernandez bats four, so he's got Max Muncy coming up and then Kike and then Will Smith coming up. Maybe, just a little bit worried about the matchups there. I don't know. But in all honesty, you have to leave Cole in there. I thought for one more, at least one more. Let's see if he can get out Muncy. Let's see if he can get out. If he gets out Muncy, you put him batter to batter. Let him pitch to Enrique Hernandez because in reality, Garrett Cole is a better pitcher than Kike Hernandez is a hitter. Let's just be honest. Put the two together. I think if he got out Muncy, you let him pitch to Enrique Hernandez, Kike Hernandez. If it goes south, then we go to somebody else. There's already, one out, and get a ground ball. Let's get out of it. Let's see what happens, right? But no, he decides to pull him and put in Clay Holmes. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to sit here and shit on Clay Holmes because I think Clay Holmes is a great pitcher. I think he's kind of in this weird zone where he doesn't quite know what's happening with him and his play. He's very on or he's very off. There's like no in between. It's like he's on or he don't got it. And last night was I agree with putting him in. Okay, it's a seventh. He's been thrown in the seventh. He's been handed the seventh inning. I don't know how many times this year, but he didn't have it. It was blatantly obvious they were trying. It was obvious they were pitching around Muncy. They didn't want to pitch to Muncy, so they were going to throw him around Muncy, which is fine. But he fucking drills him. After that, I know they had other guys going. They had other guys going in the pen. After he nailed Muncy, give me the fucking ball. Give me the ball. Like, that's it. I'm sorry. Not this time. Not now. Not in the fucking World Series. Give me the ball. But he didn't. Kike goes out there, puts a sack bunt down. So now you got second and third. And then, surprisingly, Clay Holmes throws a great pitch and gets Will Smith to pop out to Volpe at short. There's 2 outs. And then right there, I can't argue, pull him. Canely goes in. And he's coming out there with, his power changer. I think he's thrown X amount in a row. We have not seen a fastball from Tommy Canely. He's got a great pitch, but at some point, and we're going to talk about this in a second, I guess I don't know if this is a catcher blunder coming from the pitching coach or whoever. We're going to talk about that as well. So anyway, Canely goes in. He gets Lux to ground out. Inning over. Another tight inning as we go into the 8th. But yeah. Still 2-1 though. Still 2-1 going into the 8th. Now, Gratterall pitches, and in between, we're going to get to the kind of the Dodgers stuff, but the Dodgers just showed up. Flaherty pitched very well all the way through. I think he went through the 6th. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it at? Okay, yeah. So Bonda comes in the 6th to relieve Flaherty. Flaherty threw decently well. Let me see if I can get the box up here as I'm going through this a little bit here. But yeah, I was honestly impressed with Flaherty. He threw well. I mean, people when I said what I said a couple weeks ago about Flaherty, I just didn't see how special he was. He really is a mid-range starter. He's not a Garrett Cole. Like I've said this a million times. So he's got a good curveball off of his fastball. That's what makes him special. I'll be honest. And he's got that sweeper cutter looking thing that he throws. I think it's a slider, which is also pretty good. But Flaherty, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. So he showed up. Then Bonda comes in, 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So not bad. And then I was unsure if Gratterall was going to play this series. I'm a big fan of I forgot. I don't even know how to pronounce his first name. It's kind of insane. Let me see. Brewstar. I just know him as Gratterall because he throws 100 miles an hour, but it looks like he's just playing in the backyard with his son or something. It's the weirdest shit, but he throws fucking gas. I didn't know, obviously Vesia and Gratterall were not available in the championship series. I was not sure if they were going to be here, and that as a Yankee fan bothered me a bit. I was like, well, fuck, because those guys can pitch. Vesia is good, a lefty. The Yankees are already struggling versus left-handed pitchers, And Gratterall is another one of those guys where it's like, hasn't pitched in a while, already leans towards the wild side. What can we really get out of him? But he showed up and made a fucking fantastic play. And here's the thing: if you're watching this game, if you're watching the World Series last night, that play set a tone that I don't think a lot of people paid attention to. But when I watched it, I was like, "Fuck, dude!" Like he caught the ball back to him with barehanded. Looks at the like he's the shit. Which that was just a dope play, and throws him out at first. It did more for the game than people realize. It set a tone. It kind of just set something in play that you're not going to get on paper. It was insane. But kind of going back to the game. So it's 2-1 going into the 8th. Vesia comes in, strikes out Jazz, strikes out Rizzo, and then Volpe lined out to the center fielder, Kike Hernandez. So nothing out of Vesia. Again, the Yankees have struggled against left-handed pitchers. So knowing that Vesia is now available and he didn't throw too much, that could pose a problem. It could pose a problem. Now we go into the bottom of the 8th. Edman grounds out, nothing too crazy. And then here it is. This is another thing. So Canely has this pitch, the power changeup, but he throws it more than he throws any other pitch. And not just like, it's like his primary. No, he throws it more than any. He's got to be throwing 97 to 98% changeups, if not higher, more than that. Okay, so you got Edman to ground out to short. Cool. Great. Shohei comes up. Shohei is not the kind of hitter that you can just throw one pitch to. He's not. Let's just call it for what it is. Let's just be honest. In that situation, you have to come with something else. You can't throw one pitch to Shohei Ohtani. It's not like you can throw. We're not playing the Guardians anymore. We're not playing Kansas City anymore. You have to come with more than one. And that was a mistake. I think had they thrown a fastball, something else, anything other, because the minute that he threw one to Shohei and missed with a ball. Okay. But then he came back with the same pitch and put it in the zone, and Ohtani hits it. And this is what defined the game here, guys. A lot of people don't know, if you weren't watching, this is what happens. He hits the double. He splits the gap. Soto, Judge head over there. Soto gets it, throws it in, and Glaber bobbles the fucking throw. No one backing up. Obviously, pitcher's covering third. Rizzo's at first, I guess. People were kind of talking, well, maybe Rizzo should have been there. There's no reason he would have been backing up at that point. If anything, he was maybe trailing the runner, but not in that situation. Even if he was, he had been closer to the bag anyway. So there was no excuse. There's no reason. Gleyber Torres needs 100% needs to knock that ball down. It can't get past, because it's a 2-1 ball game, and the last thing you need is with one out to put a runner at third and a sac fly brings him in. The baseball IQ has to be there, and it wasn't there by Torres. And the thing is as much as Torres has shined in that leadoff spot, as much better as he's played in these last two, the division series and the championship series, I get it. He's doing a lot better. Not taking that away from him. Give it. But this play, the one where he bobbled it and Ohtani takes third on a double where he should have been at second, not only changed the trajectory of the game. Because in reality, think about it, a double, whatever. Okay, you got a double. You're at second. You're probably not going to take third. The game still goes on, a little bit less pressure off the pitcher, off the players. Okay, he's at second. We've got one. We need, we're one pitch, really 2-3 pitches away from this thing. If we can really do this, we're all right. But the ball passing Glaber for no other reason than the fact that he just wanted to backhand the lazy. He wasn't going to make a tag. There was no play. He should have known that. Body it, block it. It cannot. There's nobody behind you, but no. Goes for the lazy backhand, which is on par with how he's played all year. And here we are. Runner at third, one out, and here comes Will Smith. That was the end of the night for Canely. They're going to put in Luke Weaver, who's going to come in and get you at least 2 outs in the 8th, and then come in and close the 9th. Okay, but people forget, behind Ohtani is Betts, another great hitter. Okay, now Reliving this is a lot more painful than I thought it was going to be. But, you just needed to pitch to him, to put it on the ground, hit a ground ball, something. But no, of course. And it's not even against Luke Weaver. I'm not mad at the fact that Luke Weaver gave it the pop-up. He was put in the situation. But, again, Mookie got the job done. He got the job done. He needed to pop it out. He put it out there. And, of course, Shohei scores on the sac fly. 2-2 ball game. Next up is Freeman. Freeman pops up to Judge. We go into the ninth. Now, Kopech comes in to replace Vesia. Again, not a lot of pitchers used for LA. I think that these are the normal guys that they've been using all season beside Bruce, is it Broussard, whatever his name is, and Vesia. I'm just gonna start calling Gratterall, Broussard, Gratterall, whatever his name is. I'm gonna start calling him Big Man. That was gas. So we go into the ninth. We're going into the ninth. Let's see what we got here. So in the ninth, we're scoreless in the ninth. Wells grounds out. We're going to talk about Wells. Verdugo grounds out. And then Glaber hits a ball. I was watching it with my girlfriend and her sister, and they were all hype about it. I was like, honestly, that was going to happen anyway because he reached over, clear fan interference. It was going to be a double. It didn't make it over the wall. Whatever. No one was really pissed. I think the fact that Yankee fan, I was more mad that he just didn't get it a little bit more to actually hit it out, because no matter what, whether the fan catches it or it hits off the wall, he gets the double anyway. Doesn't matter. But this is where we have to talk about Aaron Judge, because this situation right here is showing the world that the Dodgers don't fucking care about Aaron Judge, and rightfully so. They shouldn't, right? They shouldn't. Flaherty struck him out, I think, 2 or 3 times. If not Flaherty, he was struck out again by somebody else. Like, he is just nowhere to be found. And the thing is that Flaherty just kept curveball, slider, whatever it was, just slidering him to death. It's over and over and over and over. And there he goes, like a broken record. He's just going to swing over it. Like, what are we doing, bro? Have some plate discipline, something. Like, watch one. He's throwing you that pitch every single time, and over you swing and miss. Like, Aaron Judge has to be better. But here is where the Dodgers pretty much said, we don't give a fuck. Aaron Judge, who's Aaron Judge? So obviously Glaber hits the double. He's on second. They intentionally walk Juan Soto with 2 outs so that they could pitch to Judge. That's your 3-hole hitter. They're walking Juan Soto to face big bad Aaron Judge. Well, he doesn't seem so big bad anymore. Honestly, if you're going to call yourself the captain, if you're going to bat 3-hole for the Yankees, you got to make an adjustment. You have to. These are the biggest games of the year. This is what everyone's touted you to play for, big guy. You got to do something. So anyway, they walk Soto, put Judge at the plate. They're going to pinch run Jason Dominguez for Torres at second. Treinen comes in for Kopech, and Judge pops out to the shortstop. First and second, one of the biggest situations in the game, and you pop up to the shortstop. Play into the narrative. Cannot happen. Those are situations you have to come through in, especially as Aaron Judge, especially as the captain of the Yankee and the 3-hole of any ball club. Have to come in there. Can't happen. So Dodgers make it out of the top of the ninth. They come into the bottom of the ninth as Walter Cabrera is going to go in and play for Glaber because they burned him with the pinch run. Teoscar Hernandez lines out to Juan Soto. Max Muncy pops out, and then Kike pops out again. Here we go to the 10th. Now, this poses a problem for the Dodgers. Now, this is something that the Dodgers, whether or not I've kind of watched Treinen pitch. I love watching Treinen pitch. I think he's disgusting. So he gets Stanton in the top of the 10th. Jazz singles. Then he steals second. Treinen intentionally walks Rizzo so they can face Volpe. But in between that, what people forget is that the only reason the Yankees score here in the top of the 10th is because Jazz manufactured this the whole way through. Treinen, and I hope the Yankees figure this out because they're going to see a lot more of Treinen. There's no way they don't. Treinen's their guy. He's the late inning guy. He's the closer. He's kind of a mixed between like a setup man and Luke, like what Luke Weaver does, closing in the 8th and 9th. Training, they're going to see a lot of training. But training, we, as the world saw last night, cannot hold a runner for shit. I mean, he cannot hold a runner on the bag at all. Jazz stole second and then just stole third easily. Like, they didn't give a fuck. And if I'm Dave Roberts, that's a problem, bro. We're in the top of the 10th in a close ball game at home, and we're just letting Jazz just go all the way to third. It's almost as bad as Glaber letting the ball go and Shohei taking third base. It's weird how Trainin didn't give a fuck. But anyway, so Volpe hits a ground ball to Edman, and he kind of bobbled it a little bit and only got a force at second. So now there's 2 outs, but Jazz scores, and Volpe's on first. So job done. Can't complain. Great. And the other thing is, like, Tommy Edman, we're going to talk about Tommy Edman real quick. He had an error in the first inning. He bobbled this ball in the force, but he made 2 great plays. One didn't result in an out, but it was a phenomenal play in the hole, the 5-6 hole. Dove, slid, threw it, almost had him. I can't remember. It was in the early innings. It was right after he made the error in the first. And then he also saved a run. I don't think it was this one. He saves a run in the later innings as well as the play up the middle. So Edman kind of having a wishy-washy day. He doesn't make the routine, but he makes the other plays, which is super weird. Volpe, and then Volpe steals third. So again, they're just running rampant on Blake Trainin. Jazz steals 2, Volpe steals second, and then here we go. Austin Wells strikes out, 3 outs. We've got to talk about Austin Wells, and I'm thinking I might actually save the Wells conversation for a minute, but we'll talk about Wells, and so we'll talk about the lineup stuff in a second. Let's get to what happened in the 10th. So Weaver's kind of a 2-inning guy. I would not have extended him any further. Jake Cousins comes in, another questionable pitching change. Cousins has been in and out of injury. He's been good for a while, but he's still one of those guys that's a little bit shaky. And we're gonna get into it. So Cousins comes in, he gets Will Smith to fly out to Soto. Then he walks Gavin Lux, which Gavin Lux and Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman's kind of like a second leadoff at the bottom. I'd be more afraid to face, Gavin Lux. Hold on a second. There we go. So Gavin Lux walks. How you walk Gavin Lux, I don't know. I don't know why you would walk Gavin Lux. You can't let that happen. And I know I've said that twice, and I'm trying to make sure my fan doesn't freak out on me. But Gavin Lux has been struggling hard at the plate. Struggling. And you walk him. You got to pitch to him. Let him get himself out. Why are we walking him as a pitcher? You got to know that. So they walk Lux. Edman singles on a ground ball to Oswaldo Cabrera. I think that's more, Oswaldo been sitting for 9 innings now. He's cold. Put him in the game. He makes a fucking error. I don't care what anyone says. That ball needs to be caught in that situation. So we got first and second. And here it is, the decision that I have been texted, like, at least this morning. It was at least 4 people this morning who were talking shit about what the fuck Aaron Boone was thinking putting Nestor Cortez in the game. Now, and I'm going to say this right now. Let me say this when I say this. He had Tim Hill warming up with Nestor Cortez. Now, I get it. You got Ohtani coming up. You're going to want a lefty. It needs to be a lefty. You want to play the matchup. I get it all the way. So I was okay with either of them for a second. And then I thought about what I said on Thursday, and I said, I don't think they should put Nestor Cortez on this roster. I don't think he's ready. He's been hurt. He hasn't thrown in over a month. He's having issues. He's just now bullpenning back, but he's got this fire. And I think a little bit of the persona took over too much. They're like, he's got this fire. He's ready to go. Like, this is what we need. We need Nestor. And I'm sitting here going, guys, he has not thrown. He's a wild card. This is not a game that you just put a guy in and think, well, let's see what you got. You haven't thrown in a month, but let's see what you got. I'm like, bro, he hasn't even been strong this year. Like, he is not pitching that great. He's okay. You moved him out of the starting rotation, put him in the bullpen. Is this really the moment that you want Nestor to come into after not pitching for a month, facing 1, 2, 3 of the Dodgers? You have Tim Hill, who has a sub 1 ERA in the last 2 series, who's pitched well. He's coming well in big situations. Every time he comes out, he shows out. He's been playing for the last, he hasn't been out for injury. He's got consistent playing time. But I will say this, I did the research, looking at it from both sides. Nestor has more swing miss. Tim Hill throws to contact. We've already got 2 guys on, first and second. So I can see it. I guess I can understand it. Why you'd go to Nestor, but I can't help but feel like the non-playing for a month had to have played a bigger role than whatever they used for their decision-making. I would have gone with Tim Hill. I don't know why they put Nestor in. In fact, he threw 2 pitches, only 2 pitches. The first one, okay, he threw it was an up and in fastball to Shohei. He pops it up. Verdugo makes a fucking awesome play. Awesome play. Diving into the stands. Gets the ball, throws it in. Awesome play. The sad thing about that is that the play doesn't fucking matter because you're going to forget about it in about 5 minutes. So Verdugo makes the play. We have 2 outs. 2 fucking outs. They intentionally walk Betts to face Freeman. Load the bases. Why wouldn't you pitch to fucking Mookie? He has not been that much of a threat. You have first and second. Freeman is batting. He's a hotter hitter. Why would you not pitch to Mookie, who has been struggling? I don't understand. I did not understand that. I didn't understand the Nestor going in. I didn't understand the intentional walking of Mookie Betts. And then the pitch selection that he threw to Freddie Freeman was right down the dick. He busted Ohtani up and in, which it still was a little bit over the plate where Ohtani got a barrel on it. Whatever he threw to Freeman, I mean, you can look at the replay. I posted it on the socials of the Extra Innings pages. It was right down the middle. It was right down the middle. Freddie Freeman was not going to wait. He wasn't going to watch that. So, yeah, and that's how it ends. That's how the game ended. Now, separating myself as a baseball fan, I've been saying this all day. As a baseball fan, it was a great fucking game. Oh, my God. It was. I am more excited for tonight. I think, and we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. But as a baseball fan, take out that I'm rooting for the Yankees, take out the Dodgers. This was just an awesome game from start to finish. It was awesome. As a baseball fan, I loved it. I loved every second of it. As a Yankee fan, ripped my fucking heart out. Just ripped it out. I mean, I was so pissed. I was so upset. Again, for these reasons specifically, I'm just calling out I just want to know why. You're looking at the data, looking at the past histories, looking at the matchups, you have to make better decisions. Have to make better decisions. But okay, so I'm going to hint at a couple things as we've touched on. We finished the game, obviously. Aaron Judge, some X factors talking as a Yankee fan talking about the game. Aaron Judge has to be better. There's no question. I'm going to go through these quick. Aaron Judge has to be better. The Yankees don't win without Aaron Judge hitting the ball. They need Aaron Judge and they need Juan Soto to hit the fucking ball, because if Aaron Judge continues this, it's not going to be good. So Aaron Judge needs to wake up, and we're going to talk about some lineup changes that I know won't happen, at least not tonight, maybe later, maybe game 3-4, but it won't happen tonight. I have a feeling they're going to ride with the same lineup. But yeah, Jazz made a great play at third. He's doing phenomenal just manufactured that run in the 10th inning. That was a beautiful case of base running. Again, not sure what Trainen's doing, not holding a runner in the top of the 10th inning, but again, good to Jazz. He's hitting the ball well, playing great defense. He had a great snag at third base with the infield in on a shot, made the play, especially with a runner at third base. It was a phenomenal play. So I'm super. Jazz is in. Pitching, we'll talk about pitching in a little bit. Garrett Cole, great start. What else do you want out of your starting pitcher to take you into the 7th? The relievers got to be better. Stanton, I can't say enough things about Stanton. Dude is just built for the postseason, built for everything. Now, I wrote down this in the game last night. This loss feels worse than just a regular loss, right? Because you went in there and you lost the game. But here's the caveat. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the episode about showing too much. The Dodgers have a great bullpen, so they don't mind. I think they got 5 or 6 out of Flaherty. Hell yeah, that's what they wanted out of Flaherty, because their bullpen is deep. It's a strong bullpen. It's the starters. And I said this on Thursday when I put out my episode. The pitching situations for these teams are totally flipped. The Yankees have great starters and an okay bullpen, a little worrisome. The Dodgers have a small starting pitching staff, and their bullpen's deep. Here's the problem. So, like I said, both starters did well. Both starters pitched deep. But I say this is worse than a regular loss for the Yankees because it would have been okay if you used all these guys, Cousins, Holmes, Canely, Weaver, Nestor. You used 5 guys yesterday. Now, I think the Dodgers used about just as many. Flaherty, Banda, Gratterall, Vesia, Kopech, Treinen. So 6. They used 6. So here's the thing. If you come out of this game on top and you win, okay, we showed them a lot of our bullpen, but we won. It was worth it. Everything paid off. It was a tight game. We showed a fuckload of our pitchers, which the Yankees don't have a big, thick bullpen like the Dodgers do. So again, it would have been okay had they used all those guys and showed a good chunk of their cards and said, well, it's all right because we got the win in LA in game 1. But it hurts more because you showed them a lot and you fucking lost. While the Dodgers showed a good chunk, but these are what they've been doing all year, and these guys are going to come back and pitch again because a lot of them, 2/3, 1, 2/3, 1, and a third. Bullpen's fresh, bro. Their bullpen is fresh. Our guys, 2/3, 2/3, 1 and 2/3, a third, but not good thirds, not good 2/3. So again, pitching problem, man. That's going to be a big thing, and we'll talk about it in the preview about how I feel about all that. Talked about the Nestor decision, how that made no fucking sense with Tim Hill in there. Again, I can understand, but again, I don't know. And then here we go. So we'll talk about the lineups. I like how my second to last note from the game last night was just Wells terrible. I can't sum it up anymore. Wells terrible. Lineup adjustments. Judge needs to move down. So, and I listened to the John Boy podcast. I listened to Talking Baseball about the Yankees, and I like to hear. I watched MLB Network this morning. I like to hear what people think. They're not going to move Judge. They're not. As much as I wish they would move him down in the lineup, they're not going to move Judge. It's not going to happen. He's not going anywhere. I can tell you that with confidence because he's Aaron fucking Judge. Torres will probably start. I really wish in a perfect world, and I still don't totally believe this, but there's no other options. I wish that they would go Torres, Soto, Stanton, Chisholm, Judge, Rizzo, Volpe, Wells, Verdugo. That would be ideal for me. Now, I know that they're not going to move, at least not this game, going to move Judge anywhere. And I'm still not super sold on Chisholm at cleanup, but that's what it's got to be to give the lineup some variability from the righty-lefty splits, just to make it harder on the opposing pitcher, which is obviously going to be Yamamoto tonight. But I think they're going to leave it as that. Just Stanton, you need Stanton. You need, and the John Boy guys said this as well. Jake and John Boy over there. You need, and I agree with them wholeheartedly. I knew this last night. You can't keep waiting for the second inning for Giancarlo to come up. You want him to hit in the first always. He needs to. This is the World fucking Series. We're not in the business, as a Yankee fan. I'm not in the business of watching you test lineups now. That should have been done. Judge has not been playing well now for 3 series. So you knew that going in that he's been struggling. He got the big home run in the Cleveland series that is all but forgotten because of the Fry walk-off and the big Christmas home run. But he's not done anything consistent. He got a hit the last series of the Guardian series. But he's just, he got a hit last night too. 1 for 5, man. 1 for 5. He's batting $167 in the postseason. Well, you got Juan Soto batting .333 with a 1 dot. Giancarlo Stanton with a 1.282. Chisholm is struggling a little bit, but he's still a 520. You got Glaber with a 310, 852. Like, You got to make an adjustment. Rizzo 389, 920. Volpe, who's really showed up, 273, 732. But I say all this to say that without Judge, this lineup is nothing. Because if you really think about it, there's not a whole lot of power towards the bottom half of this lineup, and that's where I'm worried as a Yankee fan, as a analyst of watching this series. 1 through Stanton, Torres through Stanton is scary. With Judge struggling, nonetheless, it's still a scary lineup. But from Chisholm to Verdugo, like there's really not. I mean, Wells is an automatic out right now. He got a hit last night, but it was barely a hit. He strikes out more than I've seen. 2 strikeouts. It's tough, man. It's tough. So we're gonna have to see. Do they give Trevino a shot? I still think, my opinion, I say they start this game with Wells, which they're going. Like I said, there's going to be no lineup adjustments here. They're going to start the game with Wells. I say they give him 2 at bats if it's bad. If they can keep runners off the bases, if they're that worried about Trevino throwing people out, give Trevino the shot, because right now you need run production, which is not happening at the lower half of that lineup at all. It's not happening. If you put Trevino in there, he's going to at least put the ball in play. We saw that he did that against the Guardians. He had a base running blunder, which is synonymous with a lot of the Yankees. They don't run the bases well. Okay. But fuck, he's going to hit the ball. He's going to put it in play in moments. He's got the clutch gene. He has showed us that over and over. Give Trevino a shot. Come on. And I'm just saying, like, at this point in the series, in the game, in the season, you need run production. Great catcher or not, Trevino's a greater defensive catcher. The only worry is that the people have is with him throwing people out. Just keep runners off the bases. Expect more out of the pitchers. That's all I can say for that. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. For the Dodgers, I don't expect much more. The Dodgers showed up. They hit the ball well. Ohtani got a hit. Betts went 0 for 3 with a sac fly. Freeman 2 for 5, obviously player of the fucking game. Teoscar Hernandez was just a menace at the plate, as he normally is. Not a lot of hits, but he had a lot of productive at-bats. I can't say enough good things about Teoscar Hernandez. Max Muncy, they pitched around Muncy a lot. Muncy's been hot. He was 0 for 3. So applaud the Yankees on the pitching around him. Kike Hernandez 1 for 3 with that big triple in the early innings. Will Smith 0 for 3 with a sac fly. Lux 0 for 3. And then Tommy Edman 2 for 4, though his defense really did hurt him quite a bit. The 2 errors, really costly. That toss to second was costly. All right, so tonight, let's talk about tonight. We're already almost at 40 minutes. I want to kind of wrap it up. I know I've been talking to yapping for a bit. Tonight, we got Rodon versus Yamamoto. This game for sure is going to be, I think, a big one. Obviously game 1 was huge last night, but I think this one's bigger. And I say this because the Yankees are going to need length. I mean, as a manager, if we're at the stadium right now, I'm pulling Rodon in my office and I'm saying, we need you big. We need you big here, bro. I need 5-6. If you can give me at least a third, 1 or 2/3 out of the 7th, that's what we need out of you. You need him deep. You need to reserve that bullpen as much as possible. And with Rodon, it makes me nervous, man. It makes me really fucking nervous because like we've seen him do. He'll do really good, and then we'll have games where he just loses it completely. And it makes me nervous. But again, play devil's advocate. Yamamoto, same thing. He'll go out there and shove, or he'll go out there and we don't know who this guy is. I'm saying, so again, both sides are expecting big things out of their starters tonight. And then game 3, I think, will be probably Clark Schmidt, Walker Buehler, which can be another one. But this game, last one in LA tonight, it's a big game. It's a big game because if the Dodgers take 2 going into New York, it's going to flip this whole series on. It's going to make New York play defensive, which if New York can win tonight, they can go into New York with kind of a different mentality, a little bit of like, we're still even. We can still do a little bit of risky shit. But once you go to New York 0-2, down 0-2, you're with your back against the wall, basically. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be tight. It's going to be close. But I think this is probably, as of so far, the first game of the series. This is the biggest game of the series by far. And after this, we'll determine what's going to be happening. But I mean, yeah, this is going to be a big one. Like I said before, I don't expect any real changes in these lineups. Maybe a luck switch for Taylor because he went over. I still don't think that's going to be a likely thing. I think they're still going to ride with the same lineup. Same with the Yankees. As much as I wish they would switch up the lineup, I think they're going to ride with it again tonight. So we're going to see, but it's going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be crazy. Thanks for listening. If you're watching, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. We're in the home stretch. This is the craziest time of the year. This is, like I said it before, guys, this World Series is going to be packed. If you've never watched a World Series, if you're watching the World Series, let me know what you guys think. Put your comments below on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. Like I said, I'm doing in-game updates for the most part, unless things get crazy and I forget to tweet. Check me out on Twitter. I'm always talking about baseball shit. I'm going to have some shorts up on Instagram and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok here in a little bit. So be sure to follow, like, subscribe, all the stuff. I don't like really asking for that because it's kind of corny. It's kind of cheesy. But again, guys, game 2 tonight, Yamamoto versus Rodon. I think it's 7 Eastern, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, 7:08 Central time. So it's going to be lit, guys. Don't miss it. And again, we'll be back again tomorrow to recap game 2. We'll see you guys in the next episode.